Ladies and gentlemen, it's really my pleasure to be here. And what I can see from the program, maybe I'm the youngest speaker here, so congratulations to the Integration Foundation, Ivan, and the whole team for this wonderful conference. The Europe in 1990 said never again. When the war in Bosnia happened, most of the European countries said never again for the war to happen on European soil, never again for the integration to have that such a hard start for people on the move. Today I will be speaking about the Bosnia and Herzegovina and the three migration waves, what from 1960s could have happened also today. In front of you, you can see three persons. The first one is the Bosnian Austrian Alma Zadic, who is Minister of Justice of Austria, coming from the family with a migration background. Secondly, there is Jasenko Selimovic, the former EU Parliament member, Swedish Bosnian, who is also coming from the family with the migration background. The third one, maybe you know him as well, it's Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who is a Swedish football player, also Swedish Bosnian, and coming from the family with the migration background. So the question here is, from three migration waves, could Bosnians be pioneers of integration? And what can European countries learn from this example that they pause all together? To give you the concrete background of the case, the Bosnian and Herzegovinian diaspora has been formed over the last 60 years, mostly to the Western European countries. And the importance of this work was that my master thesis done in Germany on Europa Universität Flensburg is the first research of this kind on this topic ever done. And it's really opening the questions on Bosnian diaspora starting from the 1960s. From this comparison, I took two federal states of Germany, the Schleswig-Holstein and Baden-Württemberg, that had actually different integration policies and perspectives in 1960s, 1990s, and today. The significance of the context for Bosnian migration waves does not only reflect to the current ones, to the Ukrainian refugees, to other people on the move, but in general to the all countries that are not only implementing the integration policies, but have to modify them every day, basically. Because the context of the migration is always changing. The Bosnian and Herzegovinian context differs from many different perspectives. It was the post-World War II economic restriction. It was the guest worker program that was signed between the Bosnia and Herzegovina, the former ex-Yugoslavian countries. It was the industrial boom of Europe. It was the dissolution of Yugoslavia, many Balkan wars happening, the humanitarian response, the economic stagnation of Europe, the European integration aspiration even today. The first migration wave started in the 1960s with the guest worker program or Gastarbeit program in German, whereas hereby Yugoslavia and Germany signed the agreement allowing workers from the ex-Yugoslavian countries to come and work in Germany. This agreement was not only signed with Yugoslavia, but also with many different countries such as Portugal, Italy, and so on. In the 1960s, many guest workers were not allowed either to go to the language courses, to go to the school. They were only allowed to work. In the 1990s, due to the dissolution of Yugoslavia, the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina, the war in other Western Balkan countries, a huge influx of the refugees came also to Germany. What we need to underline here is that in 1995, when the war was stopped, many of them needed forcibly to return home or to leave Germany. Then in 2000, we have the third migration wave happening due to the post-war challenges that are happening even today in Bosnia and Herzegovina or many other Western Balkan countries due to bad economic conditions, to the political stagnation, to the very huge youth unemployment rate, or different social challenges that are happening. So the question here is what we actually learned from the Bosnian refugee crisis in 1990s. When the war in Bosnia was stopped, many people came to Germany, came to the different Western European countries. In 1995, as I said, some of them needed to return home. So we have the 3 migration waves, and the importance of the inclusive policies, not only through the last one, but also through the whole 3 migration waves, was something that the Bosnian refugee crisis highlighted in the receiving societies, let's say. The European countries should not only learn the importance of the inclusive policies, but also the integration of refugees, not only in the economic sphere of the society, but also the social ones. The community engagement and support. The case of Bosnian diaspora shows us today that diaspora of Bosnia and Herzegovina is returning not only physically home to open businesses or to send the money, but also to be the driven economic force in general. The mental health awareness in general from all 3 migration waves is one of very important question. Hereby, the pillars of the research done in Germany showed that diaspora, the Bosnian clubs, are one of the key partners to the local authorities when it comes to the integration policies and to implementation of the integration program in general. The research here also underlined the migration tendencies, whereas the diaspora is forming the migration networks. And in the final call, it will be the decision that will influence the movements of the migrants, the refugees in general. In 1990s, we will take the example of Austria and Germany. In Germany, the refugees were not allowed to work, whereas the Austria did a very faster answer to this call and allowed Bosnian refugees to work. Today, we are witnessing the very huge demand for the workforce in Germany, whereas one of the most biggest migration groups are actually coming from Bosnia and Herzegovina. The same migration groups that one returned back home forcibly by the state decisions. The employment opportunities are not the only question that the Bosnian diaspora, that the Bosnian migration told us. The question here is that once integrated in the economic activities of the country, what is happening with these groups? It's not only the question to integrate the refugees, the people on the move, in the integration of the economic activities, but also to give them the perspective that they can be more than just the workers. The case from the beginning of the presentation shows us that the call for this is on the societies to show that the path to becoming a lawyer, to becoming a politician, the successful parliamentarian, is on the local pillars or local structures as well. One very important question today is that the diaspora of Bosnia and Herzegovina is the first foreign body when it comes also to investing in the countries. What Sonia said at the beginning is that when the war in Ukraine stops, we will see what will happen with the huge Ukrainian diaspora as well. The question that Bosnian diaspora showed us that they will not only be the force that will help to reconstruct the country, but also serve us as the structures of integrating the future migrants from Ukraine, from Bosnia, or other countries in general. The point here is that not only the integration through the language program to the economic program happens there, but also the format of the diaspora that is happening in the receiving societies is very important. The question here is, do we allow the migrant groups, the refugees, to have their own social clubs, to have their own NGOs, and how do we use this as a benefit of the receiving society in order to give us the more perspectives, not only for the migrants, but also for the whole society. And one last thing that I wanted to highlight here is that the integration communication is very important. It's not only the two-way street. It's the circular migration, it's circular communication today that matters in the field of the migration and integration. It's not only the question, will we give the migration aspirations or the rights to someone? It's the question, how will we understand the migration tendencies and how will we provide the integration perspectives by using the diaspora, the past formats of the migration that happened already in the countries. The Bosnian and Herzegovina case really showed us that diaspora can be a driven force even in the times challenging as COVID-19 or other crises that are happening. Few lessons learned from the integration of Bosnian diaspora is that the overall all integration in Germany was found on a very high level in terms of the economic activity, the education level, and the integration with other cultures. Hereby, we can also take the example of Bosnian diaspora in Sweden and in Norway as well, and also connected to what Sonia said, the very high level of the educated people that came in the 1990s to the from Bosnia and Herzegovina. The role of integration, the role of the organization is in integration is that the earlier that these clubs are formed, they will be out of the great help for the receiving society and also for the migrant groups, whereby they will be the agents of the community integration and will be, as I said, out of the great help for the local structures in general. Hereby we can see the case of the city of Flensburg in North Germany and city of Mannheim in the southeast Germany, whereby the Bosnian Herzegovinian diaspora is one of the key actors when it comes to the organization of these groups on the field. About the generational difference in integration, I think today we do not only need to talk, but also to understand how do we use the power of the young people, what is the benefits for all of them in the integration on the both sides of the receiving society as well, and how do we build the capacity development of these organizations, and how do we use them in general. And I will finish the presentation with one very important quote from Kofi Annan that says that we live in one world. We need to understand and respect each other, live peacefully together, and live up to the best of our respective traditions. That is not only as easy as might like to be, but that is all that more reason to try harder with all our tools and all our well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kemal. Any questions from the audience? Not at the moment. So we have some questions from the web to Kemal. What is the specific role of Bosnian diaspora in helping the new generations of Bosnian migrants to integrate in their new respective societies?
So in the time that we are today, the migration of Bosnian and Herzegovinians never stopped. Today we have a huge wave of the economic migrants and also a huge number of the young unemployed people that are seeking job, not only in Germany, but in the whole Western Europe. What we learned from 1960s, 1990s, and today that these clubs on the field, the NGOs and the different kind of the association are helping, as I said, the local institutions not only to accelerate the integration in the society, but also to provide them certain integration pattern that is happening from 1960s here. And from what I heard through my research and I investigated from the city of Mannheim, city of Flensburg, some cities in Sweden, is that the existence of these kind of the NGOs and the association not only help them to integrate further in the society, not only to make one close groups, but to include them into many different activities, either that could be the sport activities, the cultural activities, the education one, and what is very important is that the business activities that are happening. What we also need to underline today, that this existence of the public-private partnership really plays a big role when it comes to the outside societies from Bosnia and Herzegovinian diaspora.
Yeah, there's also a follow-up question. Is Bosnian diaspora institutionalized on the international level?
On the international level, we don't have any institutions. The only institutions that are gathering the Bosnian diaspora are from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but there could be a lot more what can be done in this case.
Right. Thank you.